bad things for the future. So what I want to talk today is about healing with cannabis, but we just can't take some cannabis and think that we're going to heal. We need combinations of diet and therapies, right mindset, and if we are fighting serious stuff like in serious infection or we're fighting cancer, we need to understand that we need to work for that health. We just can't go to the doctor, have a needle, have a pill and think that we're going to be safe, because that's the mindset that we've been led along for so many decades now. And unfortunately cannabis has been hidden and taken away from us, and we've got so many receptors right through the body for all the cannabinoids. And hopefully that most of you know that we do have an endocannabinoid system that functions with our immune system, and they're saying that they discovered it, I think, in '97. I think it's really been hidden from us. That's my honest opinion. But no doubt you guys are all watching social media. We're all here today to learn more and more about the cannabis and what's going on. And we really do need to make a stand. And I think that social media has had a huge impact in lots of things, not just cannabis, but also how we're thinking, our present state of mind. I seen last Sunday night of the news, which surprised me, and the only thing that would have brought that about, I believe, was social media, and that was, and most of you might have seen it, was they said that Australian people want to stop the sales of the land from overseas buyers, especially the big multinational companies like Chinese and stuff like that. That's only come to pass on TV because of social media. Don't underestimate social media. If I share something on change.org, whether it's to do with cannabis or infection or pedophilia, whatever it is out there to stop, to change, I share it on Facebook and I get 2 people or 3 people will sign and share it. I got 500 people on the Facebook. We should be seeing 200 or 300 people signing and sharing it. So we need to come together to make change. We need to understand how much power we have as people. We really need to do that. And these marches that are for cannabis or for vaccinations or for health and anything, or to change laws to make our future better for our kids, our grandkids, we need to do it. We need to act now, not leave it till it's too late. Okay, so let's get on to the health. With building a powerful immune system, we need oxygen, we need clean water, we need antioxidants, we need phytonutrients, we need lots of live enzymes, we need good bacteria, good microflora in the gut, and that's a lot to do with a lot of the immune system. And natural medicine has been together doing these things for a long time. But we need to get back to the basics, learning about nutrition, what makes us feel better. Not only mentally, not only physically, but mentally also. And I think there's a lot of mixed information out there when it comes to diet now, especially when it comes to healing cancer or serious disease. There's a really big push for the ketosis and paleo diet, and it's very, very dangerous if you've got cancer and you think you're going to live on eating animal flesh and high fat for several reasons. Animal meat is very acidic. It contains proteins we know now that feed cancer, methionine and tyrosine in the meats, as well as casein out of milk and all your dairy products. So to be educated, we really can get lost on the internet out there. And the ketosis diet is high in fat, and a lot of it's from animal fat, and a lot of doctors and a lot of naturopaths out there are putting cancer patients on these diets. The more hydrogen we have in the body, the less oxygen uptake we're going to have in the cells. The higher potassium, so potassium's in our vegetables, the more veggie juicing we're doing, the more sweet potato we're having, the more bananas we're having, the higher potassium we've got. So potassium also pushes extra sodium out of the cell and out of the body and out of the tissue, which is very important if we're unhealthy.
Do we want this cannabis man to step into the light, or do you like him in the dark?
Am I in the dark, am I?
Oh, yeah, you've got to step forward if you want to be in the light.
I don't
You've got to bring these drugs out into the light.
I don't like the light.
Think of it being always illegal. You've got to stay in the light.
Okay, alright. I lost my spot now. But anyway, okay. What was that, man?
Potassium.
Potassium, yeah. So more potassium in the body, the more oxygen. And of course we know, more oxygen, less cancer growth. More oxygen, less infection growth. We need to get those things under control. Now, as well as potassium, we need big amounts of very, very absorbable, rapid antioxidants. And things like liposomal vitamin C, which we can make at home, or your berries, or your live enzymes, whether it's vegetable juice. And if we are sick, we need to have big amounts of vegetable juice. Minimum about 3 litres a day. I tell my patients to. Okay.
It's for the camera. We're filming.
All right. To hop up in the morning, make 3 litres in the morning, and then put half a teaspoon of vitamin C powder in it. Keep it cold in a glass jug in the fridge. Go to it every hour. Have a glass of vegetable juice. We're getting live enzymes and all those nutrients that we need to help detox and feed the body the right things. When it comes to cannabis, and we're getting very selective things now that we're looking at with which cannabis plants work with which cancer. So we are going to a new level of cannabis education, and understanding what each cannabinoid does for the body and also for cancer is very crucial. And there's a lot of great information out there, but there's also a lot of great information locally here in Nimbin and the surrounding areas. I guess we do get lost on the internet out there, but the more that we can spend time and following the right direction, and finding that right direction is always hard, especially now because there is so much information out there, but getting to the backbone of the people who've been doing it for decades. And there's been a great video out from America, the Sacred Plant, I believe, they've aired it again this week. It's great, it really is good, but there is a lot of people in Australia like it that have been using and doing this medicinally for decades and decades and decades. These guys over there, it's good information. No doubt they're making some dollars on it, but there is a lot of information that's still not on those videos. That's for sure. Can we go to the next page, please, Sista? And I'll try and stay in the lights.
The benefits of cannabis.
Okay. Okay, so the benefits of cannabis. Now, we have, actually I think that's increased. Last 6 months ago we were talking about 500 different compounds in cannabis. I believe now we're heading towards 700 different compounds in cannabis. So we really are at the beginning of education, knowledge, scientific evidence and findings. It's very, very early days. And for me and people involved in the industry, it's very exciting. And we are very lucky. We have some great communities here involved in it. Okay, so cannabis is antibacterial, and we're finding out with THCV, it's doing quite a job of infection. And there is another medicine I just want to quickly tell you about, and that is phage therapy. And phage therapy is a natural therapy. It was discovered in 1916 by a Georgian and a Frenchman, I believe, scientist, and they found phages in the Black Sea. And all of nature has phages, and they keep us alive, present, and they keep all the plants safe and the environment healthy. And phages are actually coming to Australia soon. They have got about 80,000 different phages, and they fight infection. And I had phage therapy in 2008 in Georgia, just south of Russia. And we have been trialling phages now for about 5 years in Australia. And Professor PJ Warmold, who operated on me a few times down in Adelaide, He's a world-leading cranial and ENT surgeon. He didn't know about phages, and I had researched them because I had 7 superbugs. Started out with MRSA, ended up with Pseudomonas, staph pneumonia, toxic E. coli, very, very sick. I had continual tumour growth, 2 different kinds of tumours, lots and lots of surgery. But I introduced PJ Warmild to phage therapy, and I had 2 specialists and a regular doctor and a disease specialist as well, and no one had tried it in Australia, and I researched it for about 18 months, and I got to a point where I had no choice. I had to try the phage therapy. I was totally resistant to cocktails of antibiotics. I'd been fighting the infections for 9 years, and constantly on IV. I'd been septic many times, and I had no choice but to go to Georgia and have phage therapy, and it changed my life and saved my life, truly. So I see the future, and at the moment Professor PJ Warmild he's leading a trial with phages, which is funny enough, for all respiratory upper-lower infection. So it's fantastic that I played a little bit of a role introducing him, one of the masters in surgery in the world, and it's going to be very nice to have phages in Australia. There's no side effects in the phages, and to combine phage therapy with cannabis therapy is going to be monumental in our health, because we're not going to have any side effects. We are going to beat infection, pardon me. And combining phages with cannabis medicine for our cancer patients is going to be incredible, because a lot of us go into hospital, we have even a minor operation and we come out with a deadly infection now. And I had mine, I caught MSRA in, I think it was 99, and I had been septic twice in about 6 months, and woke up in a ward in the PA hospital, and I had about a dozen disease specialists around me. They didn't know what was going on. My nose had totally closed over my eyes, and they really didn't understand the diseases back then, and now they do. And I think that I'm blessed for what I've gone through, and that's why I'm here today to share, and I'm open to any questions as well along the way, guys.
What are phage therapies? I have no idea.
Phage therapy?
Okay, phages are natural bacterial phages that in soil and also in the ocean. And what they do is, what happened with my body, because I was very, very ill. I was toxic, really. And the bacterial phages actually break through into the toxic bacteria, say Pseudomonas bacteria or MRSA bacteria, which is a very bad form of staph. They break through the infection wall, and then they eat the bad infection bacteria, and then the phages actually mutate. So it's like it's really like a powerful domino effect. And within a week of me having the therapy over there, I felt different. I could actually feel myself coming alive internally. It was amazing. So
is it a bacteria?
Yeah, it's a natural bacteria.
And you have it orally?
I had it 3 different ways. So we can have it orally. I also had, because I had a very chronic infection in the sinus, I had electrotherapy in the sinuses with phage therapy through a pressurising machine orally, and you can have it injections as well. I had chamomile injections too, but that's another natural therapy as well. But all that will come to pass in Australia in the next couple of years.
Can you get it in Australia?
If you've got anybody that is got at the moment, I think that we're doing respiratory trials in Adelaide Hospital, and I think it's Dr. Smythe was doing them in North Shore Hospital on post-limb surgery. But have a look at them online. It's Phage Therapy, Phage. I think there's 3 or 4 clinics in the USA now. So if you do have anybody out there, loved ones or friends, that does have infections that are out of control, you can go to the States and have therapy, or you can go to Georgia. And I believe when I went to Georgia, it was a very, very trying time. We had to time my trip very carefully because the Russians had invaded it. And I got in for a month and got out, and it was only 4 days after I got out to actually bomb Tbilisi airport. I was very lucky, otherwise I would have had to go out through Turkey, but it was quite an experience. But I believe I had a friend go to Georgia about 6 months ago, and it's definitely changed. It was a very war-torn country when I was there. Lots and lots of street kids and beggars, and it was very sad to see. But they're doing better now. Okay, now, cannabis. I always call it the king of herbs. I don't think there's anything more powerful out there for the human body. And as I said before, it's very, very early days, and we're going to see amazing things in the future. And I believe bringing together the different cannabinoids, there's a lot of stuff out there saying just take one cannabinoid at a time, don't use CBD with THC and all that. And look, being a herbalist, I know that there's certain herbs that can go together and work in synergy very well, and some can't. But cannabis itself, the cannabinoids, all work very well together. And over time, we're going to see incredible things change. And the thing that I think we've got to be careful of, if we do start taking artificial cannabis, and I hope we really don't see that flood the market in Australia. I'd love to see our organic grown cannabis and our organic growers here get a fair chance. And I think we're really going to push that in Australia. We need to have our own growers. We don't need anybody else's cannabis. Not at all. You know, if you know anything about cannabis, in Australia, our environment is perfect to grow cannabis. It is better than any other country out there. And the more trichomes on a plant, that's where the THC is, of course, the better the THC, the better the plant. In Australia, because of the sunlight, we do have a very, very good production of cannabis and cannabis medicine. So a big push out there on social media, anybody else or anywhere else, that's something to bring up and really, really stick together and push. We need more manufacturing here of everything and more jobs for Australia, that's for sure. Okay, incredible pain relief, and I can't tell you enough the pain relief that I've seen with cannabis. It really brings me to tears, the people that I've seen that have been living on opiate drugs, and we have a big damn opiate problem out there now, not just with the addiction, but with patients that are on 3, 4, 5 and some more pain relief medications, and they're not working. They get to a point where they can't sleep, the bowel becomes blocked, so then the central nervous system comes alive, so we end up with more problems. And the cannabis is doing incredible things, not just for the average person with bad pain, but also for palliative care. The suppositories are doing incredible for very drastic pain. Okay, CBD. CBD is fantastic for multiple things. Very good for inflammation, for pain, for anxiety, for stress, as well as using in the medicinal side for cancer. It slows down the metastasis. There's plenty of research and data and proof now on that. All of cannabis is anti-inflammatory, whether you use it as a single compound or you use it as a whole plant-based form. And next page, please, Sista. Okay, so in synergy with everything, as I touched on before, is to use everything together. And that is, of course, our cannabis, our herbal combinations, vegetable juicing, coffee enemas, especially if we're very toxic, whether it's opiate abuse, whether it's chemo abuse. A lot of cancer patients, unfortunately, get to a point where they can't have any more chemo, and their liver becomes what I call, the liver goes into a coma, and they get sent home, and we can't do no more for you. And that's when we start doing some serious coffee enemas. Very, very powerful, very, very powerful at detoxing the liver and the body. Also raises the glutathione level by about 700%. Glutathione is a very powerful antioxidant. Our body does produce it, but of course when we're sick, never enough. And as we age, it decreases, as does our hormones and many other things in the human body. But coffee enemas, absolutely powerful. They also stimulate the bile ducts to release bile, which the bile ducts hold a lot of toxins and things like that we need to release so the body can purify itself, cleanse itself, and then start getting healthy again. Okay, enzyme therapy. There's a few different kinds of enzyme therapies. The basic one that I touch on is originally from Dr. Beard, from the 1940s, and a great man who passed away last year, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez. He's furthered on with Dr. Beard's studies and trials and used enzyme therapy for cancer. And the enzyme therapy is very powerful, especially when we're having pancreatic, stomach cancer, and every cancer, of course. But what we've seen with Nicholas Gonzalez is that he has the highest rate of recovery and prolonging life in pancreatic cancer patients than anybody in the world. And it was a sad day that he passed last year. But with the enzyme therapy, now our fruits have some fantastic, powerful enzymes. Our pawpaw has papain, which is very powerful. A pineapple, and the whole pineapple I mean, not just the nice bit you like to eat, but the core, where the bromelain is, which is very powerful. These enzymes, what they do is, most cancer cells have a protein fibrin shell that they grow around them, and that's why the immune system can't attack it. That's why they give us chemo, to break through and erupt and kill the cancer cell. But unfortunately, it doesn't just kill the cancer cell, it kills all the good cells as well. So the enzyme therapy, what we do is, we eat lots of pawpaw, pineapple, kiwi fruit, that's great, but we also need to take enzymes in between meals. And those enzymes in between meals break these protein shells down, and we do need to take a fair amount. So by doing that, then the immune system, once we start to break that cancer shell down and protects the cell, we start to see some changes in the cancer. The immune system is attacking it, and as well as the cannabis is attacking it, and we're cleansing the body, we're raising the oxygen. It's a combination of things that I put together from different therapies, from great men and women around the world, but also things that I've learned through my lifetime of fighting different diseases and sicknesses. So intravenous vitamin C, we all know what that is. Fantastic. Vitamin C raises the oxygen and does many things, a great scavenger. Liposomal vitamin C is another form of vitamin C. Have a look at it. It is very powerful. You can make it at home, you can buy it online now. It wasn't available in Australia until about a year ago. I've been pushing it for years and showing people how to make it for a long time now. It's very good. It's 3 times more absorbable than regular vitamin C. And probiotic therapy, we all know what probiotics are. We'll go down to the chemist and buy our famous one that everybody knows. And I can tell you right now, it's rubbish. It's rubbish. We need broad spectrum microbes. We need fermented soil-based microbes, and we need grain and vegetable fermented microbes as well. And we need those if we're unwell, not once a day. If we're seriously ill, we need to be putting that in it 4 to 6 times a day, as well as eating all our fermented foods as well. Chlorella is a microalgae, one of probably the most powerful microalgae in the world. It's very detoxing. It's about 58% glutamine. Glutamine is the main amino acid that is needed by the human body. And the fantastic thing about glutamine is that if our body requires lysine, which is an important gatekeeper for the nervous system, then glutamine, which is contained in the chlorella, can change to any protein that the body requires in the immune system. It's very good. And it reproduces itself. It's the biggest and fastest reproducer of new cell growth on any living thing in the world. It reproduces itself 4 or 5 times within 20 hours. It's incredible. We all know curcumin, anti-inflammatory, great for the pancreas, liver, brain, etc. Lysine, as I touched on before. The combinations on the bottom. This has been some great research. Lysine, proline, vitamin C, green tea, and ginseng. Combinations to slow down metastasis and help the antioxidant effects in the body. Next page, please, Sista. Okay, nutrition, touched on a bit of it, of course. So fruits and veggies. Years ago I did go full raw and eat nothing except for greens. I'm serious when I say this. 6 months. That's how desperate I was. Nothing entered my body except for greens. And I had out of control candida right through the body, leaky gut, like you wouldn't believe. I destroyed esophagus, stomach and bowel from oral chemo and oral antibiotics. And as a kid I had lots of problems as a kid too. I was born with an encased spinal sinus, bad asthma and continual tumour growth, so I had my share of time in hospital as a child, and I think all those years of prednisone, trial drug, Ventolin, it broke down my microflora and bacteria, and to bring the human body back to good health, it's a combination of doing all these things together. Pardon me. Okay. Things that are underestimated when it comes to repairing the digestive tract, and I'll just touch on them quickly because this morning and yesterday I had two funny enough, two patients that one had radiation and the esophagus is pretty much destroyed, poor darling, and she's having trouble passing anything. And when we need to go into repair... 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Get off! All right. Okay, I'm off and on. All right. Things to repair, things in the body, esophagus, stomach, bowel. And remember, if we're not digesting it, we're not healthy. If the bowel's backed up, we're not releasing it, we're not healthy. So both those things are very, very important, to clean the colon, clean the bowel. And I don't just mean go and do some therapies. It takes time. There's no such thing as a 14-day bloody detox, that's rubbish. All these packets and things that they're selling out there is garbage. It takes time. The power of rice. Rice is fantastic if you've got any digestive problems or bowel problems. Smoothies, fantastic. And all your herbal teas. Next page, sister. Okay, we've touched on that. I just want to, just quickly, sister, the other big thing that's not being spoken about out there, and if we're eating meat, is the hormones now that are being put into our meat. We all talk about chicken growth hormone and things like that, but beef is something that is very, very toxic to the body, not just because we know now that it causes colon cancer, but the hormones that are putting into the meat now. Trenbolone